You can welcome Michael Marshall to the stage, talking about the flat Earth belief.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about the flat Earth belief and the time I've spent over the last few years looking into it. I work for a skeptical charity. I'm a full-time skeptical investigator. And I've been watching the flat Earth belief grow since about 2013 to see where it is actually now. It's in Netflix documentaries and all over the news. So how do we get to this point where there are people around the world who think the world is flat? Well, 1838, Samuel Robotham conducted the first experiment which he believed proved the world was flat. He published it in 1870, and it was picked up in 1956 by Samuel Shenton, 71 by Charles K. Johnston, and then in 2004 by a group called the Flat Earth Society, an online forum which used to share ideas about why the world was flat. But it was very niche when I was talking about it back then. And now it's massive, and one of the reasons it got really big are the videos that were put up on YouTube by these two chaps. This is Mark Sargent and Eric DeBay. These videos are hugely influential and have really persuaded a lot of people that the world is flat, to the point where there was a Flat Earth convention in Birmingham last year, which obviously I bought tickets to in order to spend a weekend with people who thought the world was flat, which I wrote about for The Guardian and Gizmodo, to see why do these people believe the world is flat? What's really going on here? And the question everyone always asks me is, really, do they believe it? And the thing is, in 2013, it was hard to tell, because half the group really believed it, and the other half just enjoyed the intellectual pursuit of arguing a position they knew to be false to fuck around. The problem is, they really were very good at that, and they persuaded the first half to really believe it even more, and it escalated for that reason. But now in 2018, I don't think there are people just mucking around. I think they genuinely do believe it now. The conversations I've had with flat earthers, I think they really do believe it now. So you might think, well, what does a flat earth look like? What do these people actually believe about the world? Well, this is one model of the flat Earth. You can see the Arctic circles in the middle, you've got the continents splayed out, and then you've got Antarctica as a ring of ice around the edge. And this is what some people believe. But it's not the only belief in the flat Earth world. You've got that version. Some people think, well, it's a bit like that, but actually there's a dome enclosing it. And that dome is referenced in the Bible when they talk about the firmament. It's referenced in Psalms 19:1, which is actually on the gravestone of Werner von Braun, the father of rocket science. So they go, oh, isn't that a bit spooky? Is he admitting from beyond the grave that he was lying the entire time? Some people believe the ice doesn't stop at Antarctica, but in fact the world's an infinite plane in all directions that bisects reality. And we are in a puddle in that ice, and there are other puddles in the ice, and maybe that's where aliens come from, so that's why we get visited by aliens. There are loads of different models that people believe the world actually looks like. Some people believe this diamond model, where instead of falling off the edge, you disappear off one side and reappear on the other side, like the Pac-Man version of reality. They all have these different models, but they all agree that the globe model is completely wrong. Why do they all think this? Well, often they'll say, look at the horizon. The evidence of my own eyes shows me the world is flat. Look at this horizon, show me the curve. You can't show me the curve, therefore the world is flat. Except it's a bit more complicated than that, because the world is massive and we only see a tiny bit of it. If we take our image and put a ruler on it, we can see the ruler shows that isn't a perfectly flat horizon. There is a very gradual curve there, but it's too hard to see with the naked eye. And if you're only trusting your naked eye and not the observations of all of science and physics and geology and you ignore that. Similarly, people say if the world is really curved, stuff will disappear beyond the curve. So at 6 miles, you shouldn't be able to see each other. That was the original experiment by Samuel Robotham. Yet, you can stand on the shores of Lake Michigan and see Chicago 56 miles away. This is too far, therefore the world's flat. Well, no, light is just refracting. They say if the world is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, how can a helicopter hover over the same bit of land if that land is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? How does a plane travel at 600 miles an hour in the same direction as the Earth, if the Earth is traveling at 1,000 miles an hour? That plane should go backwards at 400 miles an hour. Fundamental misunderstanding of what the globe model is. They say, look at the flight paths. If you're flying from Sydney to Santiago, you stop in America. Why would that be? Is it because it's a straight line on the circular Earth? Does that explain it? No, it's because you're not just refueling in America, you're letting people off and letting more people on. Nobody wants to do that journey in full. But it's not just that they believe the world is flat, they have all these other associated beliefs as well. This is really conspiracism writ large. The moon landing, they say, is obviously faked. That's why JFK was killed, because he knew you couldn't get to the moon, because there isn't a moon, because we're in a dome, you can't get there. Stanley Kubrick faked it all, they say. 9/11 was obviously an inside job, they pretty much ubiquitously believe. And that things like the Boston Marathon bombing was a false flag. This is Eric DeBay's website. A prominent flat earther also believes in these so-called false flag operations. This is real conspiracy stuff. They go even further. NASA is a tool of Satan. NASA is a tool of the Freemasons. The Freemasons are the Illuminati and the New World Order who are in control of everything they believe, and they also believe those people may or may not be Jewish people who are in control of everything. It slips into anti-Semitism and some ugly stuff as well. I spent 6 years looking into this on and off, talking to people. What have I learned? Well, I don't think it's about rejecting science. It's about rejecting the rest of reality. It's rejecting other things based on your own belief and your own identity. They believe all these different things. It's not just that the world is flat. They've got a whole plethora of beliefs. And if this has whetted your appetite on the flat earth belief, I'll be talking about this for an hour on Thursday at the Casa Bar for the Merseyside Skeptic Society, where I'll explain exactly what I heard at the Flat Earth Convention, what's behind all this belief, and what we can do to try and reason people back out of it. So if you enjoyed that, I hope to see you there. Cheers.